For those of you at home that are wondering what is currently going on, Chris has just fell face down on the floor, laying under his desk, inspecting the rear of his PC. For what purpose? I have no idea. Are you alright, Chris? Yeah. Mind your head. Hi, I'm Steve from 123D. Today we're going to do an unboxing and first thoughts review of the AnyCubic Kobra 3 Max. This machine is a beast. Huge. As you can see, the box has pretty much filled the table. We actually saw this pre-production at Formnext 2024. We've now got them in stock. This machine is very big, so for anybody that's needing a large volume 3D printer, this will be a consideration, albeit it's not enclosed, so it will to a point limit the materials that you can print on it unless you build a purpose-built huge enclosure. But we'll get into that later on in the video. So we will first proceed by opening the box. Chris has identified some flicker from the violation cam. For those of you who don't know what the violation cam is, that's the one that's mounted on the ceiling that constantly looks at my thinning mop. The box is open. We have a user manual and we also have an installation and commissioning video. Scan the QR code. Interesting. We have a huge slab of foam. Ooh, we have lots of parts. Best way to do this, I will take them out and try and give you a brief description of what I believe they are without looking at the manual, because I'm very good like that. These parts, braces for your Z-axis. I'll pop them on the floor for the moment. We have another big chunk of foam. We have a bag with a lot of screws, a sample of filament. So that is in this side. In this side we have more bags. So we have power lead, and then we have more foam. I'm not quite sure how I shall work this. Need a bigger table. Is this all attached? Oh yes, it is. Great. What I am seeing is we have a gantry fixed to the base. I assume that is purely for packaging purposes. So before we proceed any further, just so I don't destroy anything, I will refer to the guide. So it's giving me a product overview, the base, unlock the frame and the base. So basically in the box, everything's flat. We've got the gantry screwed via metal plates to the base of the machine for transport purposes. It's saying here to remove all of the screws, which there is 8 in total, with a 3mm Allen key. Alan, we are very grateful to you yet again for lending us your keys. So, shout out to Alan. Big up Alan. Oh, they are very tight. So you can see on the violation camera what I'm actually doing, which is very good. Well thought out, Chris. Big shout out to Chris the cameraman. Doesn't say if we need these again, but I'll pop them to one side, just in case we do. One plate. I know we'll only assume that the holes that are left in the gantry and the base are the same holes that you will fit the stiffening arms to. That is just a guess. Another plate. More bracketry. Alright, Chris, you're going to make a cameo. Would you give me a lift with this on the floor, please? It's fine. Look at that. There we go. Okay, so in the sides here, and there's another one over here, is a 4mm Allen key that it needs us to remove. So that's those out. You should carefully grab this, which is a very big thing. Apparently, we'll get that somewhere thereabouts. And typically, we need the bag of screws while I'm now precariously going to hold this. Get these out before you actually put this in place. Bag 1 for frame, not wag 1, bag 1. I've lost the plot. These big long ones, there's a hole that goes through the frame, so I've just started that off by hand. I will get a smaller one. It shows 2 screws, but there's only 1 screw hole. Oh, Steve, you are very silly. We have it the wrong way around. Right, now I have the correct holes. We'll just come round here. One in there. Just a little tip, don't tighten them all the way down until you've got all your screws in. It just makes, if you need to move it a little bit to get the holes to line up a bit easier. So that is those fitted. Next, the big braces. These huge ones. Number bag 2 for support rod. So in here we have 2 quite long bolts, 2 shorter ones, and 2 of these little spacers. We will grab one. Now, as you can see on the rod, we've got R. We've got a sticker on this side labelled R. So we know this is the right side first up, the short one goes through there and into there. And then at the bottom, we have a longer one and a spacer. So you go through the bolt, put the spacer on the other side, and that lines up with a hole at the back of the frame. I'll get those in loose to start with. I'll repeat the same process for the left-hand side. So the short one through the top, and the long one through the bottom. Again, spacer on the opposite side into the hole at the back of the frame. Okay, because I don't have an Allen key big enough in my set, I will use the set that came with the machine, the largest Allen key. Big up, Allen. We then just proceed to tighten those up. There is some thread lock on there. You'll find out when it's wound in so far and it hits the thread lock that you'll feel resistance. That's fine. That is the thread lock doing what it's made to do. Basically stops them vibrating out, coming loose. Okay, that's that one. Now you may be looking at these and thinking, what's this nut and whatever for? Basically, these are adjustable. So if you find for any reason that your Z gantry or Z axis isn't quite square to your build plate, you can adjust these screws to basically push it backwards and forwards to get it perfectly square to your plate. So there's a bit of fine adjustment available there if you need it. You can do that after you've tightened these up. So next up, by each of the fixings that we've just put in, there is a cable dangling. You want to get them, plug those straight into each of the stepper motors. Again, when doing this, they can only go in one way. Pay attention, don't try and force it in the opposite way because you will break it. I'll also remove this little metal wire cable holder and we'll get that out. I'm not sure yet where that goes. I think it plugs into, but we'll get to that in a minute. So that is that. Somebody's stolen our extruder.
Stolen?
Right, so it's asking us to pull the belt to lower the Z axis. I don't know where it wants us to lower it to. About halfway, the next image shows. First thing that I would check is that you've got no play on this axis. If you look, we have two metal V-wheels on the top and we've got one on the bottom. There is an Allen head socket hole there. Big up, Allen. And behind that, you've got a nut. This is basically what we call an eccentric nut. So this is where you'll adjust that nut in between the actual back plate and the gantry to get your V-wheels to sit snugly and run smoothly on that axis. If you can grab it and you can feel any wiggle, that nut needs tightening up. This one is absolutely fine. So we're all good on that one, but definitely worth checking that before you proceed. A lot of complaints come from my machine won't level, my print quality is awful, and it all comes down to this being loose. So when you're printing, the extruder moves about, which is not ideal in any way, shape or form. Now it says we have two holes there, which we do. There we go. This one here is the eccentric nut. So you've got the Allen key on the front. Behind the plate there is a nut. So you basically hold that with the Allen key and then you turn that with a spanner. And what that will do is it will rotate the whole lot, which is like a cammed hole. So it'll basically move that wheel further away or closer to this metal guide rail. So here we have the extruder. Right, so we've got a little bag labelled for print head number 4. So I'm going to take that off for a second because I don't want any calamities. I don't want it to drop off and break. So we'll get the little screws out of here. Now on the back of the plate there is 4 holes marked. So it's these 2 and these 2. On the extruder, we've got 2 holes at the top, 2 holes below that. Now, the holes at the top are basically keyed. So if we start the screws off in the back of the extruder and then lower it into place, that will then hold it, in theory. Start these off and then I'll hold it up and show you which ones I've done. Literally a couple of turns so you get a few threads into the hole. That's all you need. Be careful you don't drop these into the extruder because there is 2 holes right next to it. So as you can see, here and here are where I've just put those screws in. These are the holes that I was referring to. You could drop it in inside there and then you're going to have to pull the extruder apart to get them out. So please be careful when you do that. Then we've got 2 more, one here and one here, which line up with these 2 holes here. So I will try and hook that, place it into place and then put them screws in. So that's the top 2 in. And now I will do the 2 below. Lovely. Just make sure they're all nipped up. Whenever you nip anything up and you've got more than 3 screws or 4, I try and do them in a diagonal pattern once you tighten them up to make sure that everything's bedded down nice and evenly. It now wants us to plug in a cable, which it's saying is a USB-C cable, which would be this one. So basically, it's not saying anything really hard and fast about this, or how to route it, but it literally goes in there, like so. 4 printer head cable, bag number 3. So just carefully pop them in the holes. All this does is really just secure the USB-C plug in, so it doesn't get pulled out or snagged or anything like that. You don't need to go mad, snug it down. It's more just to stop the cable being pulled out. 2, cable is now secure. It's asking us to fit the screen. Now, that's quite interesting. So you see there, on the actual screen bracket, we've actually got a serial plug connector built in. So we mount this to the side of the machine, it plugs into the socket that is there, and then we secure it with some screws. So, bag 5, for touch screen, the ribbon cable. Probably one of the most common failure points. It's good that there is not one. So, carefully just line that up with a port on the side, like that. Grab your screw, snug that down, and then put another one in the bottom one. And that is that. Here, we have another cable, which clips in here, like that. Cable holder installation. So here we have PTFE tube with a very strange little clip. Grab that, the end with no clip on, top of the extruder, push that in, make sure it's locked in place, which that is, and then this bit is keyed and just slides in, so it'll only slide in one way, like that. Okay, so this cable here, we'll just slide that, bring that round the back. I do believe that wants to be situated in there, and that gives us access for the whole thing moving around. The spool holder. Okay, so on this side of the frame, we've got 2 holes at the back. This bag 6, spool holder, this little bracket here. So you've got a countersunk side. Pop them through there like that. This little keyed bit faces back. Line them up with the holes on the base of the frame. Screw it down. And then we have this bit, which again you can see is keyed. So that slides down onto there. Then we have this, which locks into there. Lovely. Check the printer head is installed firmly. So basically the next page is giving you the heads up to adjust this wheel if there's any play, like I've already explained. So there'll be the same principle on the bed. So we'll remove all the foam. All clear. And then basically what we'll do is we'll get the bed and we'll move it. And there's no play in that. If there is, use the spanners down this side of the machine, the eccentric nuts. If you look underneath the machine, you can actually see the nuts. And there is 2. So if you do get any play, just slowly tweak them until you take out the play, but the bed still moves freely. So you get these little cabley clippies. So all I do with them is pop them on the wire. Keeps everything nice and neat. Just check that we have plenty. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. So just checking them for travel, make sure that we're not going to bind or put stress on the cable. I mean, if we go right away over there, we do a little bit. So I'll put it back to that point and we know that we've got enough. I mean, it's not tight, but it is what it is. So it's pretty much telling me I'm done. Plug it in. So I'll clear all this off. Plug in the cable and we shall flick the on switch on. We have noises. Let's remove the protective film from the screen. So it's just booting up. So defaultly we're set to English. Correct. Next. We are not in China. We are global. Next. Scanning for Wi-Fi. We have got Wi-Fi available. Wi-Fi connected. Okay. Next. So we can basically set up a cloud account. We shall skip that. To do it, you just scan the QR code. Enjoy your 3D printing. So we shall click that. So it's asking us to insert the USB stick as shown in the illustration. They have moved them to the side. So here there are 2 USB ports. So I'm just going to plug it into the front one. I don't think it really matters. And as if by magic, it is now going to do a self-test. So just while this is going through the motions, for any of you who are familiar with the Kobra 3, they do it in a combo version. So basically it comes with an Ace Pro unit, which is a 4-change colour unit. Simply plugs straight into the machine and you can then obviously print multi-materials. This machine is available in both configurations. So you can buy it as a standalone printer like we've got here, or you can buy it in a combo version. But if you decide that you want a standalone version, you can have the combo version later on down the line. that isn't an issue at all. So there we go. Just probe the nozzle, detected where the bed is. We are good. So now it is going to do the auto leveling. It'll preheat the nozzle to 170 degrees. Then it will basically wipe the nozzle, clean it off, make sure there's nothing on it, and then it will proceed to actually probe the bed to generate a mesh of the bed and compensate for it in the firmware.
A few moments later.
We pause the video at that point because it's quite a large area to level. So probably estimated that took maybe 10 minutes. So while you're doing this process, might be worthwhile making a brew. Just be on hand to press OK for the next step. It's completed the bed leveling. Now it's saying resonance compensation is about to start. Please ensure the printer is placed stably and avoid any other sources of vibration. Our table isn't ideal for this. It does wobble about. So when you're doing this step, make sure you have it located in its final position where you're going to house it and use it. That way you will basically get the best input shaping for your given situation, if you like. So I'll proceed to click OK. Detecting resonance. Please do not touch the printer. So basically, as you can see, it's vibrating. The frequency will get higher and higher and higher.
More moments later.
And it is finished. We have now exited, and it's took us straight to the general settings guide. So we've got a user guide, language setup, screen standby, fans are currently off. So we'll go back to the main menu. We will hit the print button, and we have a test model. We have a few test models. So we've got basically the standard test files that you get on AnyCubic machines, the Benchy. We've got a Ace Colour full shark beer bottle opener. We've got a camera mount. We've got a dinosaur. We've got a flexible shark, and we've got another bottle opener. What I will do is grab some filament. This one is readily to hand, which is Rainbow PLA. Link will be in the description. So pop that on the spool holder. Then get the filament and load it up this tube. I have some filament in there. Now, maybe I have to go back to settings to load. So we shall click extrude. So I'll put the filament in. We've gone back to the main menu, gone into filament, extrude. It's now preheating the nozzle to 250 degrees. Fingers crossed, it then starts to extrude the filament, which it has. It's picked up the filament. It's now pulling it through. See the spool moving, which is clearly indicating we are extruding. And as you can see, there is a bit of grey in there. Our colour's now coming through, which is a very good, very positive sign. And it says extrusion complete. Bosh.
Bosh.
So go back to print. I will remove the molten ball of sticky stuff because we don't want that on a build plate. Go back to print, test model, and we will go with the 18-minute Benchy, as we always do. I don't know what it's going to do. It's got leveling highlighted. So we can, basically, if we click on it, we can disable or enable. So I will run it with it default and see how long it actually adds, or if it only levels the area where it's going to print the Benchy. So I shall press print and let it do its thing. We'll pause the video because it looks like it's going to be quite a long process, and we shall resume the video once we have printed our said Benchy. See you soon. A few moments later. So here we go. We have the Benchy. Right, it claims it did print in 18 minutes and 18 seconds. I don't think that's accounting for the time it took to level the bed. We will test more anyway, but we'll print something larger. We'll probably disable the leveling to see what results it gives us. It should give us the same because it has already leveled, so it should have a stored mesh, fingers crossed. But let's pop the Benchy off. First impressions, it's perfectly acceptable. I mean, bear in mind, this is a Cartesian, that's how I pronounce it, Cartesian-based machine. In other words, bed slinger. So we shall click OK. First thoughts, it is a big machine, as you can see. Who would I say it's aimed at? Well, I mean, anybody, really. If you want a big format 3D printer, then I would definitely have a look at this one. It's a decent solid platform. I'm feeling the outside edges of the bed. That's warm. This has been sat idle for a few minutes. So the heater that will be in the bed of this will probably be full size. The bed heats up relatively quickly considering the size of it. The overall quality of the construction, again, it's very, very similar to the Kobra 3. You've just got the added braces because obviously we've got an extremely tall Z-axis gantry, so we need to stabilise that and take any racking out of it. They used to do that perfectly. Everything is constructed out of nice finished aluminium profiles with steel guide rods for your V-wheels on the bed axis, the X-axis. The Y is run on traditional nylon V-wheels, both driven by independent stepper motors, driven by lead screws on both sides, coupled in synchronization with a belt. I mean, overall, as I say, that AnyCubic have continued to push their FDM printers forward, and overall it's a very, very nice looking machine, albeit very, very large. I mean, probably for me, people who like to 3D print cosplay helmets and whatever else, you're not going to have any problem doing that on this machine in one piece. You've got more than enough build volume to do that. Drawbacks: it's not enclosed, so if you want to print with other filaments like ABS, ASA or PC, you are going to need to enclose the machine somehow. Now this can be a bit of a dicey one, because when you enclose a machine that's got an internal power supply, you really need to try and make sure that the power supply has access to external air. If you're heating the chamber, your power supply fan is basically sucking in that warm air, so it's not really cooling the power supply. So that's one thing to really, take that into account if you are considering that route. But no, overall, if you want to print with Pipette G, TPU even, then you can do it straight out of the box with the machine. No issues whatsoever. So I hope I've covered about everything so far. As I say, we will slice another file, print something larger, and obviously once we've done that, we will post the results of that on screen so you can have a look for yourself, and we will revisit it in a few weeks' time. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, you found it informative and useful, and if you've got any questions regarding this machine or any of our other machines or materials, please drop them in the comments box below. And for me, that is it. Bye bye for now, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. See you on the next one.
As always, we aim to have the most competitive 3D printer prices on the market. If you see any of our printers being sold by a mainstream retailer for less, please drop us an email using the link in the description and we'll do our very best to beat their price. Also, if you're watching from outside the UK, check the description for links to our European 123 3D sister stores.